Hey, what is going on, you guys? Before you watch this video, make sure you watch my animation. I'm going to try and make this quick. This is a brief recap of my longer video. I'll be discussing two movies, screenplays that I thought of for Doctor Doom in the MCU. They follow the comics, and I also added new stuff. I think it's pretty cool, so I'll just tell you. The other thing is, I do want to play Doctor Doom in the MCU. I know I'm a nobody from nowhere, but so is Doctor Doom. Anyway, none of that matters. Watch my other videos, and I'm going to get right into it. To recap the first movie, it takes place in Latveria, obviously. Doctor Doom's mom is a witch, and she works with Mephisto to try and fight the Barons, and she gets the bad ending. Doctor Doom's father is forced to take care of him. Jump ahead to where Doctor Doom is 20 years old. I would show Doctor Doom's relationship with Valeria, and him having a really good relationship with his dad, because that's all he has in his life. Some guards come to their house and inform them that the Baron's wife has fallen ill. They work together to try and cure her cancer. Victor's already made a couple Doombots, so a man from America comes to offer him a scholarship, and he would just have to make Doombots for the American military. Victor is reluctant, so he gives him his card and he leaves. The Baron's wife dies, so he sends guards after Victor and his father. They hide in the icy mountains, and they don't have enough clothes for both of them, so Victor's dad sacrifices his clothes and basically himself to save Victor. He doesn't really die in the icy mountains, but he kinda does, but they do make it back to the camp. Victor's dad gives him a Mauser. He tells him to make the world a better place, and he says, take the offer, go to America. At State University, he meets Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, and if you remember, Spider-Man's trying to get his GED, he's ready to go to college, so maybe Spider-Man is there too. I think that sounds really cool. I didn't talk about it in the other video, but it is an idea that I've had. And while he's in America, he could just have a brief interaction with Luke Cage too. But anyway, while he's in college, he builds Doombots for the government. He builds the time platform, and he builds an astral projection device to go to Mephisto's realm to save his mother. Reed tells him his calculations are off, and it's not going to work. So he fist fights Mephisto in Mephisto's realm, basically uploads a no damage video on him. He eats his breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but right before Mephisto sends him out of his realm, he gets a scratch across his face. Outside, the device explodes on Victor's face. He freaks out because he has a small scar on his face, and his face is perfect, and now it's ruined. And he gets kicked out of college, so he goes to Europe. Really nice vistas, so anywhere except France. Even though his face really isn't that bad, he still conceals it with a bandage at all times because he made a vow that nobody's ever going to see his face again while it's scarred like this. When he's in Europe, he meets Valeria again, who's his love. The Russian government used her as a setup to get to Victor because they want him to make Doombots for the Russian government. Victor's neighbor Otto saves them, sacrifices himself, and then he tells Victor about a secret sect of monks who live in the mountains, and their chosen one is somebody who hides his face. Victor was ready to settle down with Valeria, but upon hearing this, he goes to the mountain to see the monks to fulfill his prophecy. In the mountains, he fights a Yeti, beats the Yeti, and then they bring him into their temple. He stays with them for a couple of years, and on the TV, he learns that Reed Richards has been dubbed the smartest man alive, and that Baron Vladimir, the guy who is responsible for killing his parents, is now the king of Latveria. So maybe when Doctor Doom is with the monks, he meets Iron Fist, and he gets a chance to one-shot a lion, because in the comics he did that naked. This is non-negotiable. Doctor Doom burns his face off with his metal mask. This is the moment where he becomes Doctor Doom. When he leaves the monks, he meets this cybernetic space yeti who can mind control people named Zemnu. Doctor Doom can't be mind controlled, so he kind of befriends Zemnu and just brings him to Latveria. There he meets Zora, who is the female rebellion leader in Latveria against the king. Nazis don't like gypsies. Doctor Doom hates Nazis, so I would make the people who are currently occupying them Nazis. It's really easy and it just works. I don't know if Baron von Strucker's dead yet in the MCU, I don't really care, but if he isn't, I would put him there and make Doctor Doom kill him. He recruits the people of Latveria to rebel against the current king. I think this part would be really cool because you could reference Iron Man 1 where he's beating the terrorists, and you could have Zemnu throwing tanks, and you could have some Sabaton playing. And then the way he deals with the person who killed his parents, I made it really morbid. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, now he's the king of Latveria, he owns his country, which would make today Doomsday, which is the anniversary of when he takes over Latveria. So after this, he awakens Ultron, or any point after this works, but Ultron may originally try to fight him, but then he becomes a true believer in Doctor Doom when he realizes that he is the key to peace. One day out of every year, he has to fight Mephisto for his mother's soul. He keeps losing. He enters a wizard tournament. This tournament decides the Sorcerer Supreme. Since Doctor Doom is nobody from nowhere, he's not seeded. Wong is currently the MCU's Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange died for 5 years, which made it him. Doctor Doom surprises everybody and beats Wong. The championship to see who is the Sorcerer Supreme is between Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange beats Doctor Doom, but he's very impressed, so he helps Doctor Doom free his mother's soul from Mephisto. The movie would end with Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom looking into the future and realizing that Doom World is the only world without human suffering. So the movie ends, Doctor Doom is still in his more classic outfit. I think it's pretty cool, right? But definitely better than Ant-Man. Okay, movie 2 I think is a lot shorter to explain. This movie would be half and half Silver Surfer, half Doctor Doom, and it would end with the fight animation that I just made. So the opening of this movie is Norrin Rad becoming the Silver Surfer, and you get to see Galactus, and you get to see Zenla, all of it. It's really cool, and I would make it exactly like the Silver Surfer cartoon. And then he serves Galactus for about 100 years. So I don't actually like the Fantastic Four, and I assume that their movie's going to be lame because they're lame. I think the first villain the Fantastic Four fought was Mole Man. Anyway, I would cast Jack Black as Mole Man, right? Because he'd probably want to do that. But back to this movie. So the Fantastic Four, they fight Doctor Doom, and he just absolutely destroys them. It's not even close. He just 1v4s them. When the Fantastic Four meet Silver Surfer or Doctor Doom doesn't really matter. But when Norrin Rad, who's the Silver Surfer, comes to Earth, he sees how beautiful it is, and he doesn't understand why we don't have world peace. The Fantastic Four meet him, and they try to change his mind, and he eventually decides to betray Galactus. My friends have informed me not to talk about Dr. Juggernaut because he's lame. But yeah, Dr. Doom can turn into Juggernaut, and I figured maybe it'd be kind of cool. He is in the animation, and I'm sure you can make it work. The other thing I want to talk about is the variant of Dr. Doom from the old Fantastic Four movies. I feel like if MCU Doctor Doom met that Doctor Doom, especially since he'd be older than the MCU Doctor Doom, it'd be interesting. It'd be fascinating to see where that Doctor Doom's gone over the years, whether or not he's reformed himself or he stays Doctor Doom. But Doctor Doom is learning from the best man he can, who is himself, Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom fought the Silver Surfer, he fought the Fantastic Four, so he would listen to what he had to say. I grew up with these movies, and they may not be the best, but it'd be cool to see him again, especially since he is canon in the Marvel multiverse. Doctor Doom then sets his eyes on Wakanda to get Vibranium. Dr. Doom gets all juiced up on Vibranium after stealing it, and I don't think they have to go to war with him, he straight up just steals it from them. But he builds the Vibranium battery on his chest, and he becomes really strong. Marvel basically hard codes Dr. Doom to be OP because he has magic and tech, and if you use magic, you can enhance Vibranium, and if you use tech, you can make Vibranium to its fullest potential. And Dr. Doom doesn't really care about other people, so he has no problem stealing all of it from a nation. Like Tony Stark wouldn't do something like that, that's why he had Stark tech. Silver Surfer coming to the Earth is something that early on in the movie, like everybody in the Earth would know about. So Dr. Doom and Ultron, they decide to invite Silver Surfer to Latveria. Also, Dr. Doom builds his best weapon, which is the Power Siphon, because he's planning to steal the Silver Surfer's cosmic energy. I always think it's peak whenever Silver Surfer's in Castle Doomstat, because it's just cool, and what they talk about is cool. So then the fight animation between them occurs. I mean, some things would have to be different, of course. I was imagining a lot more destruction happening in Latveria, like there's a big statue of Dr. Doom, like it maybe hits Silver Surfer around, buildings get destroyed, just really cool stuff. In my animation, I didn't really have the means to make that, though. I did what I could. So after the animation, Dr. Doom has Silver Surfer sift board the cosmic energy, and he heads back to Castle Doomstat. As Dr. Doom goes to the United Nations, and he brings Zemnu with him. And Dr. Doom is dressed like this, by the way. But he threatens the nations of around the world with Ultron, Vibranium, cosmic energy, Doombots. Like, he's just really OP. And he says, I'm not going to suffer any casualties. Don't try and fight me. And he gives the nations of the world 7 days to surrender, or they will face total annihilation. And then he uses Zemnu to mind control the leaders of the nations. Now, did I make Dr. Doom too OP? No, not really, because he gives into his own hubris. That's the only way he loses. So in the Spider-Man cartoon, Dr. Doom mind controls the leaders of the nations, and Spider-Man beats him, like he stops him from mind controlling them. Now, as for him being physically OP with Vibranium and the Power Cosmic, the Fantastic Four, so like Reed Richards, they build the ultimate nullifier, and they just nullify him. I think Dr. Doom and Silver Surfer are very fascinating, and they deserve a lot of screen time. There's a reason Jack Kirby and Stan Lee talked about them so much. I hope you enjoyed this brief recap of my longer video. I would make Dr. Doom turn into the God Emperor and then the infamous Iron Man in the MCU. I have other videos if you guys want to watch them, check them out. Have a great day, have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.